All right. You see that blue guy back there? He says we're doing a past life reading. So if this found you and you want to hang out, there's probably a message for you here from one of your past lives, if not more than one of your past lives. All right, so this is a collective past life reading. It's meant to find whoever it is meant for, because there's specific past lives directing their messages here. So, but take this with discernment. There's multiple people here. Not everything applies to everyone. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Just like any other reading. Ah. Whoa, okay. So right away, 3 of water, 2 of fire, 7 of earth. So I always see this card with the wraps around her arms as a sort of like restraint. Inner conflicts. This card means something specifically in the reverse, but like inner conflicts are coming into mind. So there's a lot of like, okay, I see. This came up in a TikTok reading too. We ourselves are the ones keeping us from our own blocks. Like, we know what we need to do. We're restricting ourselves just by ruminating over things over and over and over and over again. Every time there's a doubt, there's a block. Every time there's a lower frequency vibration, anger, whatever, lose your temper, block. So a lot of us, we've done the research, we know what we need to do, but it's difficult to change our habits, to change routines. So that's the main thing we have to work on here in order to get to success and abundance. I'm hearing you've done it before. That's hilarious. Okay, I want to get some signs and synchronicities here for these past lives. And we have a subject. So who's coming in with us? I don't know. This is giving Atlantis vibes. If you know, you know. Ascended Masters coming through. It also says learn from spiritual experiences. Take note of intuitive messages. So that's just your guides reminding you to keep an eye on your dreams. Try to remember your dreams, write them down. People don't realize that we get internal channels throughout the day, especially when we're like in the flow or something. If we're in the middle of like doing our art or cooking, or sometimes people in the shower, they just get like downloads. You ever been like in the shower and then it's like you were trying to solve a problem and all of a sudden you have the solution for it in the shower? Yeah. All right, so presence, they're here. All right, so who's here with us? Star seeds are coming. The collective. Star seeds. They say that a lot, but I believe we're all star seeds. Okay. Feathers could be significant. The moon. I don't know, Hecate came into mind. Doves, sacred geometry is coming in strong. Animal guardians. So I'm sensing past lives as an animal form or indigenous. Yeah, sacred geometry is coming in strong. Snakes, shed the old skin. Shed the old skin. Yeah, let go of the old habits. So my kid woke up and I had to go take care of him because his nurse was gonna show up 2 hours early today because we were gonna go out of town for an appointment, which I got notification that insurance isn't covering, so we're not going to the appointment. So I changed. I've been trying to get back to do this. So either there's resistance from somewhere, there's resistance from you. It's not from your spirit guides, it's not from your angels, it's not from your past lives. Because what I was going to say just before I shut off the camera is that sacred geometry is coming in strong. Okay, we have Flower of Life. I don't know if you can really see it. Flower of Life back here. Flower of Life back here. More Flower of Life geometry. There's more geometry in here. And I know we talked about feathers. Yeah, there's a lot of feathers here, and I talked about an animal past life. So an owl was coming in strong, birds, wisdom. And a lot of people don't realize that we live, time is happening simultaneously. Past, present, future, past lives, current lives, source, the soul, everything is multidimensional. So we're in this timeline here today, but your past lives, you can communicate with your past lives. You can get information from your past lives. Not only are they actively living, you are actively living your past lives in the past at this current time, but so there's the whole like astral and remote viewing aspect that you could try to do to contact them. Or you can look into different types of meditations. Particularly, I use sacred geometry a lot, sacred geometry meditations. And sometimes it's not specifically during the meditation that I get the download, but sometimes it's like, the last meditation I did before going to bed. And I'm trying to fall asleep, and there's just like image after image after image after image in my head. And sometimes I'm like, oh, well, what does that mean? And the answer comes to me like immediately. Okay? Your spirit team wants you to connect with your past lives. Okay? So I'm like, I did past life synchronicity, right? This is so long ago from when I started it today. It's been hours. Atlantis, Lemuria. Yeah. Celtic? Yeah, Celtic is coming in strong. Now I said indigenous, ascended masters, Middle Eastern. Sun, enjoy the sun, happiness. Sunbathing, but not like in the middle of the day. If you go out first thing in the morning at sunrise, sunbathe during that time, meditate during that time, even if it's just a mindfulness practice where there's nothing going on here, just complete silence. Those aren't the type of meditations I usually practice. They're more active. But if you just sit out in the sun, especially that first hours of the day, that first hour of the day, morning sun, it activates something in your energetic field. For you to get these downloads. Also, if you do a lot of gardening, and if you've been trying to get downloads and you're wondering why they're not happening, or maybe they are happening, but you're having a difficult time discerning and navigating things, that might be why. I'm not saying stop. I'm saying you might need to reflect and figure out a better pattern, a better routine for that. Where's my... Yeah, let me tell you, things have happened. Okay. Messages from past lives. Druids. Somebody was a druid. Okay. Thank you, Source. Thank you, Spirit Guides. Thank you, past lives. Thank you, time. Circles of time. Life and death. Thank you for life. Thank you for death. Thank you, Kali. Kali wants to speak. Fascinating. A past life. Hinduism. Indian from like India, perhaps. Yeah. Hindustani. Okay, that's predates a lot of things. Okay, I just got something like the lineage from that past life you lived is now Pakistani because of the move. There's if this applies to you, you probably know if you've had the feeling and you've done research, if you're familiar, if India is something that calls to you and you're very familiar with it. There was a move, or Pakistan even, there was a big migration. A lot of people moved from India to Pakistan. I can't remember why, but I got that your past life was in India, but the descendants from that lineage are now in Pakistan. You are forging your authentic path. In support of that, you shall attract great blessings that will benefit all beings. Warrior. Maybe somebody was a warrior. There's plenty of battles, so I wouldn't be surprised. In support of that, you shall attract great blessings that will benefit all beings. To live a spiritually and creatively self-direct life that takes incredible strength and trust in yourself. Remember that the promise of your sacred success is being fulfilled through every challenge and every blessing. Trusting what you were born to accomplish. So I've said this in the past life reading that I did and other readings. Our souls choose what we reincarnate to. We choose what body we're coming into, what experience we're gonna live. Not to say that every experience is met. That's where a lot of the like depression and anxieties come from, when we're not on our right path, we don't know what our life's purpose is, right? Because we're not aligned with the chosen path that we predetermined. So we have to allow ourselves to have those those things. We need to remember. Yeah, we need to remember we need to remember the choices we made. Sorry, it's like I keep trying to read this and I just keep getting more information. We need to remember the choices we made, and that's why they're urging you to meditate, to get in contact with your spirit team, to access the knowledge from your past lives. Because this is a YouTube collective. There's more than one person here. Again, use discernment, take what applies, leave what doesn't. So I'm sensing there's a specific message they want to send you. They want to clear things up with you. They want you to know what the game plan truly is. And if we're not doing those practices, and sometimes it's difficult to do those practices when our nervous system is just speaking from experience. So maybe we want to put our focus on healing our nervous system, regulating our nervous system first, and then we can get back into all of the other stuff. Because this doesn't apply to everyone, but for some people, for some of us, myself included, there's like coping mechanisms learned in therapy. There's meditative practices, mindfulness practices, things that we try to do that have worked for so many people but just don't seem to work for us because our nervous systems are just overrun. We need balance. Acupuncture is great. If you've never had acupuncture, I highly suggest. If you background noise, have the washer going. Like I said, it's been an eventful morning. Reincarnation. Think of this image this time, I get this card a lot, as your past self holding your future self. And by future self, I mean the you that you want to align with, right? The one that's done all the work already, the healed one, right? So they're holding you. They're guiding you, they're protecting you. So in some So for some of you, depending on the level of consciousness that your past life, that a past life of yours previously reached, like, I'm talking like high priest, high priestess, like ancient, with the wisdom, with the knowledge, with all the esoteric teachings under their belt, they can, if they're advanced enough, I still need to read this card, if they're advanced enough, they can begin to make the choices for the next life or a future life while they're still inhabiting the 3D. I know that sounds crazy, wild, like, swoop. Take it, deal with it, or don't take it. Get out of here. You have free will. But so do they. Not did. They do, because time is not linear. And they describe time as a wheel. I think it's more like a spiral. That's just me. Right, okay, back to this. Right. So your past lives or a past life is holding you, and that's why that was coming in, because they've made those choices. They made a choice for this current timeline, for this current life. Devi Makali, no matter what you have done, no matter how many mistakes you have made, Kali is here for you always. In this case, your past lives. Yours is the safety and sanctuary of her divine love. She is your soft place to fall and your kindest and most enthusiastic advocate. Yeah, because they're cheering for you. Each one of your past lives is cheering for the future life, because we are collectively trying to raise the frequency of society. Let her shift your experience from endless tasks and ever greater expectations into sweet relief and comforting connection. Connect, do the practices, connect with your past lives. I'm not going to show this image, it's a little graphic. In unusually challenging Durga Kalika. In unusually challenging situations, the ways we have supported ourselves during more ordinary times are insufficient. If you're here in this reading, this is not ordinary. You've done your past that. Okay, so you got to start aligning. We need to be open to divine inspiration, protection, and proceed in new ways. Here is a portent of unexpected success. Even if everything appears to be going against you, the tide shall turn through divine grace. Kali, thank you. Kali came in strong. Prayer beads, Buddhist monk. Okay. So I'm getting a past life Buddhist monk as well. This one again. Stag. What is... Stag is flying. Okay. Trust. So maybe there's a lack of trust. It's not that you don't believe in all this stuff, or maybe it is. Maybe it's lack of faith. But if you trust, you will thrive. Okay, and this is giving me those druid vibes again. So there's definitely like a Celtic druid presence. Okay, now. Okay, thank you. Ooh, okay, there's a one at a time. Please, thank you. Angels. Okay, so I'm getting something that, like, for some of you, this is your first time around. For someone, at least a one, there's, this is your first time around. This is their first time around. The three, not necessarily, yeah. Your past life wasn't a life. This is your first incarnation in any planet, and before that, you were pure spirit. Pure part of source. Enlightenment, Queen of Water. God, why do I always forget what you are? Where's that book? That book is all the way on the other side of the freaking room. The homie, the blue guy? He's one of my past lives. The story for the encounters I've had are more than one. But He's not. I used to believe he was my most recent past life until I actually did a reading for myself about it, and he's not. But he chose something about this timeline. That I know. So I have enlightenment, growth. I have the Queen of Water or Cups, 10 of Earth in the reverse, and the Youth. Where's this 10 of Earth? Right, thank you. It's like opened right to that page. You have every reason to be happy, and yet the reverse 10 of Earth symbolizes an element of dissatisfaction or unease. Everything has manifested as you had hoped, and you still feel that something is missing. The appearance of this card reverse symbolizes a need to determine the source of discomfort, and if there is no external cause or reason, it is time to look within to get in contact with other realms, with other presences. Okay, so what I'm getting from that is that you got the knowledge, you understood the homework, and you applied it. And you're been a successful manifester. Congratulations. But it doesn't feel right. Who was it? It was a reading from Natija Cave recently where she said that, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't her. It was either Natija Cave or Becoming Kate. One of the two. But one of them said that, we need to allow Source to paint the canvas. We need to let them take the wheel, take the brush, and let them do their work. But, Source, the universe, is always working for your favor. And if you're a master at manipulating energies and at manifesting, then you're going to get what you ask for. I've experienced that myself. But it doesn't feel right because it's not part of the chosen path. It's not the path that you're supposed to be aligned with. And before you get too far away, so there's moments in time, we're always quantum jumping timelines and all this chaos, but there's moments in time where the collective is moving through timelines. And this has been coming up a lot with a bunch of other people, not just readers. We're at a time of like things can go either this way or this way. And they want to make sure that you have the right information before the split actually happens. Because every time we make a choice, we split timelines. And the choice that we made is one timeline, and the choice we didn't make is another timeline. So, yeah, they want you to know. Because you're consciously awake in this timeline. So, whatever timeline you end up in is going to be determined by whether or not you have this knowledge that they want to share with you. Yeah, the Queen of Water is giving like huge Atlantis vibes. I have Atlantis lineage in my past lives, but I don't think they were actually from Atlantis. I think they were from like a colony post the flood. So I'm getting that a past life ascended. Okay, that's why Ascended Masters was coming in. Ooh, okay. So something happened. There's somebody. This is wild. This is wild even for me. I'm getting that somebody in this collective ascended. And this is the type of person that comes back to teach and to heal and to help the rest of the collective rise, elevate. But I'm getting you don't remember. You're supposed to remember and you don't remember. You came here to do something specific and you don't remember. Sorry, this is throwing me off a lot. I'll get back to this youth card. Youth, yeah, that's just back with the like indigenous vibes and the like spirit animals. Connection. Who? Okay. North American indigenous. Hopi? I'm getting Hopi. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint because a lot of this is this is the one that I'm okay, I'm split through two different things right now. I wanna go back. Okay. We're putting this past life on the sidelines for a second. Indigenous, connected to other beings. They're not using the word aliens, extra, just other beings. So it's like one of those Northern American tribes that has connection with other entities that came to help post the Great Flood. Ant people, connected to ant people. See, there's many tribes that have those origin stories. Hopi. I just keep getting Hopi. So, ancestor of Hopi during the time of getting everything back in order. Okay? So, somebody's past life here was somebody that knew of, like, witnessed with these other beings. You know, one of the first people that drew or told stories about it to their descendants. Shaman. Eventually rose to a shaman position. Not thinking of the right name. Can I go back to this? No. Why not? Whoa. Okay. Does anybody here know anything about Göbekli Tepe and the pillars and the carvings? I've never even noticed this thing back here. And I've pulled this card so many times. This is like really giving me Göbekli Tepe vibes. Göbekli Tepe. So whoever this person who ascended was from the time before the flood, when during the golden era, and they They had all the wisdom. So they had ascended before. They ascended before and came back to teach before the flood. Has came back many times, but this time you don't remember. Yeah, like I said, this is wild even for me. Okay? Take everything with a grain of salt. Use discernment. If it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply to you. Okay? There's a lot going on here. I have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. I have at least 5 origins of past lives here. More, because some of them are kind of like similar, not time periods, but like physical origins, like cultural origins. Queen of Earth in the reverse. Why? I'm really interested for this. This needs to be like an entire like personal past life reading. Like this is just it's so much that they don't want me tapping in too deep to this. Like it's not resistance, it's just like blank. It's weird. I've never had that feeling before. Excuse me. Discipline. Something about undisciplined. Fell off the path. Trigger warning, substance abuse. So like I said, sometimes when we have certain habits, we aren't in touch with the divine, we're not in touch with our past lives, and we don't have to remember how they look like, who they were, how they lived, what culture they were, what ethnicity they were. We don't have to remember that, but their experience, the knowledge gained from their experiences we have within us. So we're struggling to tap into that. So this Queen of Earth in the reverse has a message for someone here. I'm gonna go with our concealed ascended master. And for anybody in who's part of any specific church, please don't get your hopes up. This is not Yeshua. That is evident. There are many ascended masters, some of us walking among us today. He's not the only one. The reverse Queen of Earth will appear in your readings for 2 reasons. The first is to caution against making the home a hiding place. Hermit mentality. You can't help people. This person's here meant to help. The first is to have and make hidden places where you shut out those who care about you. Yes, we all need a sanctuary, but our periods of isolation should always be temporary. The Queen of Earth seeks to remind you that you are not meant to be alone. There are people who love you and support you. Let them in. Substance abuse is hard. It's very hard. And this just brings me back to that whole nervous system thing, because for people who need work on their nervous system first, a lot of practices, a lot of coping mechanisms aren't really necessarily going to work for them, because their nervous system is shot. My nervous system is shot. Somebody can't come in the room without me jumping. There's a lot of creaks in this house, and sometimes when I'm falling asleep, if I hear something creak, my heart almost jumps out of my chest. I don't sleep well. Okay, so you are loved. You are desperately loved. And there's somebody reaching out for you in the 3D that has tried to help, is always there for you, but you're not letting them in. And that's understandable. You know, we all have free will. It's completely up to you. But maybe this is your way out. May also be cautioning you against smothering those around you. There's a difference between mothering and overwhelming, or worse, disempowered someone through too much attention. Take a step back and allow this. Okay, so I'm getting, maybe this person's a little overbearing. This is very specific. This is not applied to everyone. I may have even lost a bunch of viewers at this point, if any are watching. You might enjoy what you do for others, but there comes a time when those around you must learn to look after themselves, or at least share in household responsibilities. So this is very specific. So there's many people, different people trying to help this case, but what I'm getting is it's just there's somebody like almost enabling. There's somebody who's almost like enabling, and they because you're so comfortable and they love you so much and don't want to see you on the street, you continue to just do the same ish in their home because you're allowed to stay there, instead of going to the path that brings you to the light. And you know, this is the life you chose. People hate it when I say that. But as an ascended master who has come back multiple times with their memories intact, this is like the ultimate challenge. You don't remember. You are in arguably one of the worst situations a human can be in. And I'm not even surprised, because somebody of this caliber should have chosen something very, very challenging to rise up above from. So you never know what your true path is if you don't connect with the divine, with higher powers, with your past lives, with your spirit guides. I myself had a beautiful connection last night. just closure of a deceased loved one that I never expected to have. You never know what's possible until you try. You know, they say that, I know what card it is. Thank you guys for waiting. Well, what I was saying is that okay, there it is. I think, therefore I am. The simple statement expressed by Rene Descartes, I can't pronounce that, is a founding principle of Western philosophy. It means if one questions one's existence, the very act of doubting and then questioning is proof that one does indeed exist. Very philosophical, bear with me. But what if you are a figment of your own imagination, or the imagination of a god mind? What if you were something else, dreaming of being human, or only existing because someone or something is dreaming of you? We may think we are human. We may think we are real. Possessing a solid physical form, we may think our world is what it is, but at a quantum level, research suggests that the world around us does not exist unless we focus our attention upon it. Be careful what you focus your attention on. It does not become real and remains fluid and changeable until we give it substance, definition, and form. Thoughts create reality. You think a table or a chair in front of you is there, your senses and your mind give it substance. I've said this before. Our brains are interpreting what we think we see, what we think we feel, what we think we taste, what we think we smell, what we think we hear. Our brain is telling us what this is, what you're feeling, what you're hearing. Thought is the second and one of the most dominant of the influence cards in the deck. That's that card. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna choke if I shuffle and it comes out. Like emotion. For thought, like emotion, will determine the direction of your life. Your thoughts, the way you think, shape and create the world around you. What and how you think is a true reflection of you as the face that looks back at you when you gaze in the mirror. However, from a scientific standpoint, thought still remains a mystery. Neuroscientists are learning the mechanisms of thought, but why it occurs is not yet known and can only be guessed at. Regardless of the way it operates, though, thought is a complex process that involves both consciousness and unconscious mind and is the result of our senses being stimulated by and reacting to the environment in which we dwell. It is the product of mental activity. It is the manipulation of information in a manner that enables us to conceptualize, reason, work through problems, and make decisions. Thought is the very foundation of consciousness, and some would suggest that without consciousness, we would not be human. It does not become real and remains fluid, tangible, until we give it substance, definition, and form, okay? So, that being said, you don't really know what the outcome is going to be of anything until you put yourself out there, until you start doing the work, until you act. And because of that hermit staying indoors, planes. I was gonna say whoever this ascended master is in the airplanes. Yeah, whoever that is, you're in your hermit mode, all you see is 4 walls. All you see is 4 walls. Nothing's gonna change if you don't change your environment. Meet some new people, stay away from certain people. Woo! Knowledge, love. I think all of these came out in the reverse. But I don't think they're meant to be in the reverse. Love, knowledge, manifestation. You have the knowledge. Tap into universal consciousness. Tap into unconditional love. Balance, heal your nervous system, and balance your chakras. And you can manifest anything. You can download knowledge, love. That's okay, that's why that came up. When you can access information in contact with other thought forms through love. Everybody always talks about the crown chakra and the third eye. When we're doing readings, we're reading your third eye. That's what's happening. Usually when we're doing readings about you, when we are tapping in with the divine and higher powers, angelic realms, you're using the crown chakra. You want to get in touch with someone specific or a loved one on the other side, you use the heart chakra. But you have to embody the essence of love, of unconditional love. And some people don't know what unconditional love is until they've had a child. But since the love you feel for a parent is also unconditional, the love you feel for somebody on the other side is unconditional. You know, they're no longer alive, you still love them. No conditions. You have to feel that love. So you can also, love transcends time and space. If you haven't watched Interstellar, watch Interstellar. Watch Interstellar. So I believe you can access, this is the download I'm getting. You can access the knowledge from your past lives through love. Feeling loved. So this guy here specifically has the third eye, the heart, and the sacral? Yeah. Glowing, activated. And then the glowing rose is at his throat, but that's irrelevant, I'm hearing. Huh. I'm gonna have to write this down and make a makeshift practice, and if it works, I'll upload it. Something about coordinating these 3 chakras and love to access knowledge. I sound like I'm full of it, I swear. Anything else worse? Don't think you're better than anyone else. You're better than you think you are. Take the knowledge. Growth. Phoenix. Let go of toxic relationships. I got a 2 of Cups in the reverse. The choice is yours. You can pick which timeline you end up in, which is the one that you're physically, consciously aware of. You can align or you cannot align. I mean, this is These are very specific messages for a group of people. Like 20-something people. I don't know. I'm sorry. I hope somebody watches this. I hope I'm deeply manifesting. No, I know. The people, the souls who these past lives are, whose past lives are referenced here, those souls will find this video in the right time. Anything else, Source? Thank you. Kali again. Kali. Leaving us with a message from Kali. This one. Huh. This is for you. When hope is lost and a way forward cannot be sensed, Kali's love will find a way. If the path does not yet exist, then it shall be created. If you cannot see or feel how you can move from where you are to where you want to be, Kali's wisdom and grace will manifest at the perfect time, true to provide what is necessary. I'm gonna have to do a video on Kali and what she's all about and why I work with Kali. But yeah, that's beautiful. Which were the 4 that came out? Yeah, these. No, it was these 4. Okay. When momentum is building and you don't know how to stop, feel it. Okay, this feels like this is for the Celtic lineage of past lives, and you might even have like multiple past lives crossing in through here, but this is for that Celtic past life collective. When momentum is building and you don't know how to stop feeling the fire or reverse the damage, Kali brings grace and freedom from negative patterns and stubborn mindsets resistant to change. Now is a powerful time for spiritual work and healing practices. She will support the work, and much growth can come from it. The storm shall be gentled. You shall emerge unharmed. Okay, these ones seem to be for the general, the rest of the collective, not specific. Well, this one's not specific. Held within Kali's protection, your heart radiates peace, certainty, and beauty. Her grace melts frustration into inspiration, fatigue into replenishment, and overactivity into effortless attraction. Kamala Devi is her name. Kamala is the golden pathway of divine protection and peaceful contentment. I can't imagine why they wouldn't have wanted her on this. She empowers your heart to receive with the same generosity, openness, and grace that you express when you give. You are swiftly approaching sacred fruition. So for some of you, you're almost there. For some of you, like, you are you're aligning with the right path, but there's some information you need to know. You just need to tap in. Okay, last card, maybe. Mokasha of Kali. This is a long reading. Relief shall come swiftly. Soon you will see things differently, and you are going to be liberated from the struggle you are currently experiencing. Be true to yourself and your life path, and you will attract the way forward. You will overcome all opposition, be released into improved circumstances, and be supported to bring your sacred path to fruition. Okay, this applies to everyone, but I'm getting that specifically for the person who I referenced has everything that they manifested, but it feels wrong. Be true to yourself. Reevaluate yourself. Look internally. And tap in. Tap in. Everybody tap in. Everybody can do this. Everybody can do this. You just gotta tap in. Alright, thank you guys for joining me in my creative space. I don't have a name for him. I just have an origin. occupation. And he wasn't blue. But yeah, thank you for joining me in my creative space. My name is Naraya, and thank you for loving yourself and loving others the way you wished others loved you. I think I figured it out. So this guy, and then the heart and the sacral chakras, and she has glowing parts in the same area and knowledge. It took me a while to figure it out, and I had to actually listen to a few readings for myself by other readers, and it's the grid of life design. That's what it is. Because that's what I've been working on in my meditations. And that I said sacred geometry kept coming up. It's the grid of life design meditation. It's a lot of work mentally, but the results, like every time, just as I'm opening my eyes, I like see something, and when I'm trying to fall asleep, there's just downloads and downloads of information. Yeah, Grid of Life Design, Sacred Geometry series on Gaia. You can get a free trial, and you can actually watch the whole series within that 7-day free trial. Okay, it's just yeah, it's like there are not that many episodes. But I would not recommend, because every other episode is a meditative practice based on whatever information was conveyed in the episode prior. I would not recommend just skipping the information and doing the meditation. I think it's important for you to not necessarily do it in order, but like you can skip some of the meditations and then watch some of the footage if you're binging, but it's very important. And you really will never understand what I'm talking about unless you do it yourself. Okay, that's all. Bye.